Congruency. If you want to be congruency in your sales process, in your ability to get people to a yes, and your ability to influence, it's going to come down to 5 basic questions. And if you have little notes, or if you're just popping in, maybe write them in the comment section below or wherever you're at. But I want you to write down these notes. The first question that you got to ask yourself is, when I sell, am I completely confident that I have done everything that I possibly can to get this person to a yes? Or at the end of a sales cycle, at the end of a sales call, are you like gripping your fingers, hoping and wishing and praying that this person's going to say yes, and you have no idea if it's going to turn out the way that you want it to? You're like when you ask for the money, or when you ask for the businesses, they're like, I don't know if they're going to say yes or not. And if you have those feelings, it's normal, and there's ways to get through it. Congruency. How do you get congruent? I'm going to ask you to ask yourself a couple different questions that will lead you to congruency. The first question that you got to ask yourself: do I fully trust myself in my ability to sell? I'm going to repeat that again. Do I fully trust myself in my ability to sell? When I say fully trust, it doesn't mean that like, oh, I just got to make more phone calls and get more yeses. It also doesn't mean that I have to, that it's just about like having the right technology or saying the perfect thing. But like, do I really believe that I trust myself in my ability to sell and get people to a yes? If the answer is yes there, great. You got one of the 3 major big questions that we're going to go over today. If the answer is no, you got to ask yourself why. Why do you not believe in your ability and trust your ability to sell? What's missing? What's really missing in your ability to sell? Now, most people who have big egos will say, well, I know how to sell, but they aren't getting the results that they desire. So you really got to be honest with yourself. Do you trust your ability to sell? Second question that you want to ask yourself to figure out if you're congruent as a sales professional or an entrepreneur is this: do I fully believe in what I'm selling and that it solves other people's problems? I want you to hear that again. Do I fully believe in what I'm selling, and does it solve people's problems or business problems? Fundamentally, at the very root, sales is your ability to influence and communicate that your product and service solves a problem. But if you don't believe that your product or service solves a problem, it's going to be very difficult to influence someone. The number one character trait that you need to influence people is you need to have massive certainty. That massive certainty comes from 1, your own ability, and 2, do you believe fully in what you're selling? Do you believe this is the best product or service to solve someone's problem? If the answer is no, then you need to ask yourself the question, what about my product and service do I not believe in yet? What do I need to do to get to 100% certainty? Because unless you have 100% certainty in your product and service, whenever you get on a sales call, there's going to be a little bit of wavering. You might be able to close 1 or 2 or a couple of different people, but it's not going to be consistent. So that's the second question you want to ask. The third question that you want to ask yourself: are you congruent as a sales professional? Is how I am selling, is how I sell in full alignment with my personal values? Let me say that again. Is how I'm selling in alignment with my personal values? And what I mean by that is this: a lot of different programs out there teach you to be like a hard closed seller, and it teach you to be pushy or aggressive or kind of like old school, right? Like coffees for closers, eat what you kill, all those types of language patterns. And if you are selling in a way that is not aligned with your own morals or your own values, it's going to be very difficult for you to stay consistent and stay positive about the process that you have. So you really got to ask yourself, do I believe that the way that I'm selling is in full alignment with my personal values? Many different businesses have different ways of selling. Some sell directly to people, some cold call, some door knock, some people get inbound leads, and some people it's word of mouth. Which one of those is more in line with your values as a human being? And everyone's going to be different. There's no right or wrong, but how you sell, if it's not aligned it's going to be very difficult for you to be successful at it long term. You might have short bursts of success, but not for the long term. So those are the big three questions. Number one, just to reiterate, okay, if you want to be a congruent salesperson, the first question you got to ask yourself, do I fully trust myself in my ability to sell? That's question number one. Question number two, do I fully believe in what I am selling and that it solves people's problems? Question number two. Question number three, is how I'm selling in alignment with my own personal values? If you answered yes to all those questions, there's a good chance that you're in alignment. If you answer no to any of those questions, there's a misalignment. You're unaligned in some way, shape, or form, and you're going to want to really work on that. You're going to want to figure out what am I not paying attention to? What am I ignoring? What feeling, what emotion, and what am I skipping over? What cheat sheets am I taking? What cheat routes am I taking to just continue to sell and like force it and push through, versus what do I need to fix in order to get fully aligned? Okay. Then the next questions you want to ask yourself, if you said no to any of those things, who or what training do I need to learn from, or what training do I need to learn from, or who do I need to be mentored or coached by in order to get alignment? Who do I need mentoring from, coaching from, or what kind of training do I need in order to get in a full alignment with myself? If you're not fully confident in what you're selling, how you're selling, and if it's aligned with who you are, then you need to ask yourself, who do I need to get coaching from or mentorship from? Or what training program do I need to obtain in order to get certain about the way that I'm selling? And then the fifth thing that you need to do, the fifth step that you need to do to get in alignment, is take action now. Not wait, not hesitate and wait for the stars to align or to find the perfect program, the right program. Remember, if you just keep moving, it's better to do something than do nothing. Once you've figured out that you're not in alignment, you got to say, okay, well, who is going to be my resource? What's going to be the resource for me in order to get 100% confident in this blind spot? And I just got to be straight with you. You know, I've had so many different conversations with entrepreneurs, and some people tell me, well, I'm just not a salesperson. I'm just not a saleswoman. I'm just not a sales guy. I'm not confident in my ability. And what I would say from my heart is, it's bullshit. You know, at the very foundation, everything you do in life is sales. You got to sell yourself not to hit the snooze button in the morning. You got to sell yourself to make that extra call. You got to sell yourself to go work out. You got to sell yourself not to eat Twinkies and to eat something healthy. You got to sell your kids to take out the trash. If you've met a significant other in life, at some point you were influencing each other and selling. True? So every area of our life is our ability to influence. And so if you're struggling, or if you're in a rut, or you don't feel like something's right, you don't feel confident in your sales ability, it may not have to do with your ability to sell. It may have to do with you not being aligned. And there is nothing more powerful than someone who's in alignment. When I coach people, I would rather take someone who doesn't have the skill set but is fully aligned than to take someone who has the skill set but is not aligned. Because an unaligned person is going to ride results up and down just like a roller coaster. But someone who's aligned, they're going to continue on a trajectory. There'll be bumps along the way, but they'll always continue to progress because they're not second guessing themselves.